This is the Horse Radio Network.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1330, featuring Dressage Radio Show co-hosts Reese and Phillip, along with their guest Karen from Kentucky Performance Products, and they have a handy punch list for winterizing your feed room and staying ahead of the dreaded winter weight loss that seems to sneak up on so many horses. And this episode is brought to you today by Horse Radio Network auditors.
Well, Karen, you have a great topic for us this month. What do we got?
We're going to talk about a couple of things. I think the first thing that we should talk about, since winter is coming, I know it doesn't seem like it in Kentucky because it's been very hot. And I know it's been warm in some other parts of the country, but probably not where Phil is. Has it been warm up there?
Never warm there.
In
It
Canada?
absolutely has been warm up here.
Really? It's not snowing?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
It's
No,
been
we've
very
had some
strange
really
weather.
lovely weather actually last week or so.
Cool.
So
Well, I'm afraid it's going to turn on us pretty quickly. And this is a really good time of year to get into your feed room and your tack rooms and kind of take stock of what you have. Look at all of your supplements. If anything is out of date, throw it away. You really have to be careful in the winter that you protect your liquids and pastes from freezing. So if you use, especially the liquid vitamin E, if you freeze that, it ruins it. And that's a pretty expensive product. So that's not something that you want to have freeze on you. And any of your oils, your fish oils, your omega-3 fatty acid oils, anything like that that's a liquid or a paste, you need to move it. If your feed room is not heated, you need to move it somewhere where it is heated. So into your tack room, or if your barn is at your house, bring it home and put it in the mudroom or the kitchen or somewhere where you can get to it, but that it can't freeze. It's the mice are going to start coming in. There's a lot for them to eat in the summer, but in the winter and it gets cold, here they come charging into your barn. So make sure that all of your feed bins, or if there's any damage or cracks or holes, that you get that fixed up so that you don't get a lot of rodent damage in your feeds, which really decreases the value of your
that's
feed.
an important thing. Yeah, things that you've had in your barn during the summer all of a sudden start to disappear in the winter, or you start to see mice poop around, and for sure that's something that we forget about. As we prepare for the winter is the rodents and the pests coming in. So great point.
That's a good thing to take care of. And then it's always a good idea to clean and disinfect your brushes and your buckets and things, because once it gets cold, you don't want to be out there, washing brushes or washing buckets, and then they freeze and they don't dry. And so it's just a good time of year to kind of take a couple of days and just get everything good and clean and winterized and have a plan. I always recommend that people have a plan too. If there's going to be a big storm coming, make sure that you have a way to get in enough hay to last you through that storm. And especially a lot of people, will get into a hitch where all of a sudden, because the roads are bad, the feed company can't deliver feed. So kind of watch the weather and plan ahead and make sure that you always have enough feed and grain in the barn for your horses in case of inclement weather. So you might have to stock up a little bit.
That's a good point.
Feed will last longer too. Yeah. Feed will last longer in the winter because it's colder. So you can stock up on feed a little bit more in the winter and not have to worry about it going bad.
That's awesome. That's very cool. I love it. Well, I think it's just a good reminder because we all forget, and then you're like,
well, I have a quick question for Karen here. Do you think it's a good idea, as we are preparing for winter, to start increasing grain rations, or changing the hay slightly, or what sort of supplements are we adding in the winter that maybe we weren't using in the summer?
That's an excellent question to bring up, because especially if you have horses that are out on grass, even if they're out on grass just half a day, or a lot of horses are out at night all night in the summer, and then they come in and they go out during the day in the winter. But winter pasture is very different than summer pasture. So winter pasture is basically just like hay. The grass stops growing and it dies, and basically you have hay. So a couple of things. right away, your horse is getting a whole lot less water in their diet when they go from grass pasture to just hay. So it's always a good idea to feed a little bit of either extra salt, or if the horses are working, electrolyte to keep them drinking, because that's an important thing in the winter, to make sure that they're constantly drinking. So that's something that you can look into. You may have to feed more hay to your horses because the pasture has stopped growing, so they're not getting
or it's covered in snow.
Their pastures. Yeah, exactly. They're just not
all
getting
that grass
any
gets
nutrition.
covered up.
Yeah. And your
and
your grass
stays
is
covered up for a long time.
Yeah.
So absolutely, and most grass, if it's good grass, has more nutrients in it than typical cut hay. So if you have hard keepers, you may want to have a better quality hay, something that's maybe got some more alfalfa in it, than just regular hay, to keep those guys, keep their weight up through the winter. And if you have horses that really struggle, you can put them on a fat supplement in the winter as well.
Yeah, I always think it's a good idea
Extra.
to sort of stay on top of these things. Maybe you have an older horse. I mean, we had one for a while, and once they've sort of dropped the weight that you wish they used to have, that they did have before, it's really hard to put it back on. So I think just being, one step ahead of the horse in that way, pre-planning, then you're not constantly, behind the game, as it were, or trying to fatten it back up.
Catch them before they lose that
weight. It's
weight.
really hard. Yeah.
Because
So,
once they lose the weight, it's hard. And the issue is that before, it takes a while for you to notice that the horse has dropped weight. So by the time you notice that they've dropped weight, they've dropped a lot of weight, not just a little weight typically. And then, like you say, Phil, you're behind the 8 ball and you're playing catch up. And it's colder already, and so you're fighting that they need increased calories to stay warm, and then they need increased calories to gain weight, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I can't get this horse to eat enough. So certainly, if you have hard keepers or old horses, start by, and hay is the best way to do it. Hay keeps them warm, much warmer than feeding extra grain. So just pick up your hay ration and start feeding extra hay. Or add some alfalfa into your meals, because it has a lot more digestible energy in it than just grass hay. But those are great ways to get your horse ready for winter. Got to winterize them like your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to be prepared, right? Because it's coming. We're getting snow tires on the cars now, so that's a Canadian thing to get ready for.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I remember coming to your wedding, Philip, and it was about this time of year, and it snowed, and I thought the wedding was going to be canceled. And Trav's like, "You're an idiot."
Because we had about 2 inches of snow.
They had 2 inches of snow, and in Kentucky, that shuts everything down.
It does. In Kentucky, they all stop. But in New York, they just put the
stops.
chains on their tires and go anywhere.
Exactly. Canada, they have snow tires. I didn't know that was a thing.
Snow tires, man. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
This is about the time.
Everybody
Canada
changes. They change their tires when winter comes. I know.
I had no
that
idea.
was a strange. I grew up in New York, and we did that in New York, and then I moved, further south, and it was like, okay, it's time to put on the snow tires, right? And people were looking at me like, are you
What's
crazy?
that? Yeah.
You don't know what that is. What is that? I had no idea. I thought the wedding was going to be canceled. That's how stupid I am. So I was like, is it going to be canceled? Travis was like, no, this is Canada. You're fine.
Nothing
so
gets
I like
canceled.
winterizing. This is why I go south, people. I can't figure it out. So I love it.
It would have to be many, many, many feet of snow to cancel the wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
I figured that out.
Exactly.
Later.
But these are all great tips and things we should be thinking about, even though it may still be warm this week. I think, like you said, things are going to change quick. And so we've got to do a little bit of a fall cleaning instead of a spring cleaning, and start thinking about the horses and where they're at with their weight and what we want to do to adjust to make sure they either stay where they're at or we can help them out a little bit more.
And another great thing to get used to doing is you can go out and condition score your horses like once a month or once every couple of months. On the KPP website, there's a great, we have a video and we also have an article about condition scoring, and you can print it out and take it with you to the barn. So if you condition score your horses routinely, even if they're hairy, you can condition score them because you're kind of putting your hands on them and feeling around. And that way you can monitor your horse's weight and you can catch it faster if you're seeing differences either with them gaining weight or losing weight. So that's a good thing to go check out.
That's a great thing. Yeah, because, once we start putting blankets on, we may or may not sort of notice these differences in our horses. And then, like I said, the older ones, we got to keep an eye on for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really important that you eyeball them. And the nice thing about the condition scoring system is you give them a score based on certain things that you do, and you can get very consistent about it. So you really will notice. You'll start to really notice those little changes that will give you a heads up.
That's awesome. That's a really, really good idea. Well, Karen, as always, such great tips. And how can our listeners, if they need to ask any more questions, or the one thing you did mention is the fat supplement. The KPP Endure Extra actually has been a really, really helpful tool for us when we have one we can't get sort of weight and muscle on. And we've used that product, and it's been a great product for us.
That's a good product. It's 50% fat, and you only have to feed a half a pound of it a day. So it's easy to get in these horses, and it has natural vitamin E, 1,000 IUs of natural vitamin E. So you're just helping their immune system, and you're helping their neuromuscular system, as well as getting the weight on them. It has some probiotics in it. So it kind of covers all your bases.
Yeah, it's a great product. Yeah, we've used it with the old horses, but also just working horses that need some muscle and, just some weight and muscle. It's a great product. So, but if people have questions, how can they find you online?
Well, the easiest thing to do is go to kppusa.com. We've got tons of information on our website. We've got information on our products, and we also have a tips and topics area that has just reams and reams of articles in it. Anything you have questions on. You can always email us at info@kppusa.com if you have a question. We'll answer any question that you throw at us. If we don't know the answer, we'll find somebody that does and help you out with that. You can call us at 859-873-2974. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we're Eastern Standard Time. So just feel free to check us out. We have a Facebook page as well, and you can send us questions that way in private messenger, or you can put them up on the Facebook page for everybody to share. But there's lots of ways to get a hold of us, and we'd love to hear from you.
There you go. That's a wrap. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of the Horse Radio Network auditors. Learn how you can help support Horse Radio Network programming and qualify for auditors-only perks by going to horsetipdaily.com and clicking on the Become an Auditor banner in the center of the page. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free Horse Radio Network app for your iPhone or your Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. And don't forget, for the less tech-savvy friends in your life, help them download the Horse Radio Network app and get them started on Horse Radio Network podcasts too. This is Coach Jen, and we'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.